Hello and good evening, and today we are continuing Torah Daled, the fourth teaching on the second part of Likutey Moharan, and we were dealing with the fact that the key to all the beginnings is tzedakah, is charity. It opens the door. And then it says the beginning of everything is always the most difficult. When you're trying to change a habit, change your behavior, you move to a different place. Whatever it is, any kind of a beginning, at the start, it's very, very difficult to get used to it. And even afterwards, as you're trying to improve and get ahead and move ahead, it's always difficult. And tzedakah is an opener. It opens all the time. There were quite a few mises and stories that have to do with this particular Torah. One of them is that Reb Nosson's grandson, that he heard that tzedakah is auspicious to, is very efficient in opening different kind of avoidance, davening, eating, whatever it is that you want to do. So what he did is that he had himself some kind of a satchel, some kind of a wallet or whatever, with small change, with prutas, and before he did anything, he gave tzedakah. Before he ate, before he went to sleep, before he put on film, before he went to daven, before he went to learn, before everything, it was just a little bit, just to open up the gates with tzedakah. This is incredibly important, because besides the fact that it works, besides the fact that it actually puts things in motion, the fact is that it stresses and imprints the immediacy of doing something about the things that you can't do anything about just yet. A person has anger issues, or a person has kedusha issues, or a person has prayer issues, or a person have whatever, any kind of issues that have to do with avodas Hashem. The beginning of everything can be done by giving tzedakah, by giving. So I think that his name was Mechala, the son of Reb Shachna, who was the son of Reb Nosson. So he had this little, thing with pennies, that prutas, that before everything that he did, he gave pruta to tzedakah, to open up the gate, it's a tremendous, besides the fact that it works very well, it's an incredibly important state of mind to be in, because when a person starts any kind of avodas Hashem, it's always very, it's always very difficult. It seems like, who am I? I'm so far from this. I'm so, between me and that, it's like, and so forth and so on. But the tachlis of all this is that probably the major difficulty in getting into Avodas Hashem, what this Torah is basically about, is the fact that I'm not there. The fact that I'm living in a world of concealment, as it were, under a hypnotic trance, that life in this world means something in and on its own. Life in this world is very important, but its main importance is what it leads to Avodas Hashem. And then I go, and it says, the Gemara says, Seches Brachas, which are the things that are the highest things in the world. It's the tefillah that is the highest thing in the world that people, take it very lightly. Tefillah it's not that chas v'chelek people don't believe in a Kodesh Baruch Hu. You believe in a Kodesh Baruch Hu. But the Rebbe Torah Nosson, the problem is that people don't believe in themselves. They believe that tzaddikim can daven, that tefillah work, and can, affect things and so forth and so on. But me, look, I've been davening for this for the longest time, and nothing happened. Rabbeinu says in Torah Bes Chelek Aleph, there are many people, Am Yisrael, there are many people within Am Yisrael that figure, they don't say it out loud because, come on. But with their life, with how they actually live their life, that the tefillahs are not working. That, no, chas chalila, of course they work. So if the tefillah don't work, why? So the Rebbe says in the I think it's in Torah Ches Chelek Aleph, Rabbeinu says that there's a malach that is comprised of miracles. It's a Gemara that the malach that is in charge of miracles is resembles a calf with split lips. And it says that, and Rabbeinu explains that it is comprised of supernal miracles and lower miracles. What do we mean, lower miracles and higher miracles? The plot is that the higher miracles are what the Olam calls miracles. Every now and then, whatever it is, something happens which is outside of nature. And lower miracles is constant miracles. Constant miracles are called nature. Nature is a conduct of a Kodesh Baruch Hu that is constant, that repeats itself. But it is always, always, always fueled and determined by the will of a Kodesh Baruch Hu on a consistent basis. We spoke about this quite a few times. And the thing is that the problem that we have is that we believe in a Kodesh Baruch Hu, b'vadai, and we believe that tzaddikim that are affecting, causing miracles, b'vadai, they bring about miracles, b'vadai. When it comes to us, law lane of law, and some people, they have serious problems, and can be, law lane of law on anyone of Israel. Somebody who's not healthy in his household. And the situation, I'm talking about, like a frum person. And the situation is getting worse. And it goes from one state to the other, one situation to the other. And the relative is a believing person, and he says to Tehillim, and he davens, and then they tell him you have to take it to a professor, a high guy. And they tell him, listen, the person has to undergo a procedure that can only be done, I don't know, in Sloan Catering or whatever it is, some kind of a mumcha, who knows where they have to go. And the person goes there and he brings his relative and everything. And that doctor, that professor, that expert, that whatever it is, tells him, you believe in Hashem. He says, yeah. He says, well, I suggest that you pray. And this person starts to pray like he has never prayed before. What happened here? He's been saying Tehillim throughout the whole thing. Suddenly, when this final expert might be a guy, whatever, he tells him, now he's like, busts open, and what happened here? He knew all along. He's a person who believes in a Kodesh Baruch Hu all along. But as Reb Nosson says, and this story is about, there is lack of belief that what we call the repeating conduct of this world is miraculous. We don't. This is the emunah that we lack. So why doesn't a person have this kind of? Because he's not miyuish. He's not desperate. Maybe I'll go to this doctor. Maybe I'll go to that doctor. Maybe I'll go to this. I'll go to that. Whatever it is, this will make things work. This will cause things to happen. But it is when he finally finds out that there is no way out, and this professor, this doctor, this whatever it is, tells him there's no way out. Now he starts to believe. Now he starts to do that there's nothing that he can stand on except Kodesh Baruch Hu alone. The emunah in this is when, for most people, this is when things happen. If a person had emunah in Chatchila, the way it's supposed to be, then you wouldn't have to come to that, obviously. The tzedakah is good for that. The tzedakah works on opening all the avodas, and especially the avodah of emunah. When a person, and Rabbeinu says it, when a person breaks the innate cruelty in his nature, with tzedakah, this is a key. It's a magic key. It's a master key that opens everything. The main thing that needs to be open is emunah, first of all. So the Rebbe said, so the first attribute, we said last week, the first attribute of tzedakah is that it enables everything. All spiritual growth is enabled with tzedakah, with charity, giving tzedakah. Now, and this is what we started last week, that the needs that a person has just for the physical needs of eating and sleeping and shelter and whatever it is, and drinking, are great. A person can very easily spend all his life, dealing with that. And the thing is that dealing with that is very tricky, because, listen, dealing with any kind of taiva is difficult. Any kind of inclination, of bad inclination is very difficult. Breaking bad habits is always difficult. And but the thing is that, let's say, the Yetzer Hara of lust or these things are very easy to recognize. When a person has a licentious thought, he knows that this is, he knows that he has this kind of thought, and it's a thought that he's not supposed to have. But when it comes to parnasa, when it comes to dealing with, what do you mean? I have to eat, no? I have to pay my rent. I have to pay this. I have to pay that. So the Rebbe says it's very easy to spend one's entire lifetime just dealing with bare necessities, And then the Rebbe said something we learned last week, that even though the ishtadlus, in parnasa, all the malachas that the person does is actually something which is very, very important, and in and of itself is considered avodas Hashem, because all the malachas that the person is not allowed to do are 39. There are 39 kinds of malachas, principal malachas, which are also on Shabbos, which were present in the creation, in the building of the Mishkan, of the tabernacle. And all the malachas of the Mishkan correspond to the 39, to the malachas of Ma'aseh Bereshis, of creating the world from nothing to being, and from the construction of the world during the Ma'aseh Bereshis. That particular is 39 malachas, which are parallel to the 39 malachas HaMishkan, and it's not for naught that it's not coincidental that the malachas of Ma'aseh Bereshis correspond to the malachas of the Mishkan, because the same way the world was created to begin with, in order to be able to bring to expression the Shechina of Kodesh Baruch Hu, the presence of Kodesh Baruch Hu, so that the creation can receive from Kodesh Baruch Hu, the Kodesh Baruch Hu's goodness, and to give back to Kodesh Baruch Hu the nachas, the pleasure that a creation can give his creator by receiving, which is very similar to, children can give their parents. Now, the thing is that the Mishkan was created in order to perpetuate, the Shekhinah in Am Yisrael. Am Yisrael was by Har Sinai, received the Torah, Am Yisrael, delved in Chet HaEgel, the sin of the golden calf. And basically now what was necessary is to have this kind of a transceiver that will continue the reception of godliness, of godly energy between Hashem and the world. That was the Mishkan. That was Beis Hamikdash. So same way the entire world was created for the Shekhinah, the Mishkan, from the name, Mishkan is Shekhinah. The Mishkan was created for the Shekhinah as a further instrument in bringing about. So, Mimela, when a person does melacha properly, what is properly? We say properly means that you know that the Kadosh Baruch Hu is the one who is Matzliach to you, and you're not hanging it, on, it doesn't depend for you on thinking that hold on, I think that this is the popcorn and stuff was left here, so if you guys want it, you're welcome to it. Anyhow, so when a person is doing melachas, when a person is doing his business, his status in this world, he is basically exciting the roots of these 39 melachas in Ma'aseh Bereishis. So the Rebbe says, you see from here that, and we spoke about it last week at great length, why this is so, and how this brings it, about some Mela. So we see here that making Ishtadlus is Avodas Hashem. So it's a very great thing. So the Rebbe says, okay, this is the middle of Seif Gimel. Even so, if the bounty and plenty of Hakadosh Baruch Hu would have been bestowed upon us, we wouldn't need all this ishtadlus. We wouldn't need all these malachas. Amen. How did the Kodesh Baruch Hu create the entire world? Without any preamble. Nobody asked them. There's no ishtadlus. Nobody made any ishtadlus for Kodesh Baruch Hu to create the world. He created the world, completely on his own volition. There was no existence. There's no prior existence that would initiate. An awakening from below. So nothing. Once the world was created, we already said, it already says, that Hashem did not didn't bring down rain because there was no man to till the field. Hashem explains that the man was not there to pray for the rain to come down. So we see already, once the world was created, we already see that there's a need for Isaruta Deltata, an awakening from below, a preemblem, from below to bring about the Isaruta Del Ela from above. But the entire world altogether was created, purely in Hashem's volition, so the Del Ela completely. Look what kind of universes Hashem created. V'akol b'chasdoi, everything is with the chesed of Hashem. It's a pure gift, bli sarus adiltasa, without any awakening from below. The world was created, the universe was created, all existence was created with chesed, with charity. It's a charitable event. And since HaKadosh Baruch Hu can create such worlds, so without any kind of awakening from below, only, with the Kodesh Baruch Hu's chesed alone. Kodesh Baruch Hu Vadai can sustain all the world are created with chesed, in a charitable manner, as a philanthropy, philanthropical. Yeah. We are middle of Seif Gimel. And we wouldn't need to do any kind of essay, any kind of malacha, any kind of occupation, any kind of ishtadlus. Even that which must be done, would have been done through others. It is said in the future, and strangers would stand and shepherd your flocks, and the offsprings of Gentiles, your farmers, the komechem, and your vineyard workers. And you will be called, the priests of Hashem, the animal of Hashem. The Kohenei Hashem Daika. It says there you will do all the ishtadlus, they'll do all the work, the physical work, and you will be the Kohanim, you'll be the priests, you'll be the servants of Hashem. Lama dafka Kohen Hashem.
Who's doing the ishtadlus?
The Goyim will do. So the reason why it says you will be Kohen Hashem, because Kohen is refers to chesed, to the level of charity, of giving, of chesed. Levi is gvura, chesed is Kohen chesed, and Levi is gvura, and Israel is tiferes. So in Mela, there are strangers that the strangers will shepherd your tzoin, and Gentiles will be your farmers and so on and so on. And you will be Kohen Hashem. Kohen Hashem Daika, Dafka, the priests of Hashem. Al Pchinas Chesed, the Pchinas Chesed, Pchinas Oilon Chesed Dimone. The world was entirely a philanthropic enterprise of Kodesh Baruch Hu. Am Israel will be called the priests of Hashem, Pchinas Chesed. They don't have to do any kind of malacha. The world exists, on the pure charity of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But we're not holding by that madriga. And the chesed is being held back. And the charity of HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not flow down upon us. Then you have to do deeds for awakening from below. That through which this awakens that supernal inyonim, the structures above, which excites to bring down a shefa and bounty to Israel. And this is what it says, and to you Hashem, the chesed, ki ata teshalem la'ish k'ma'aseh. David Melech is saying, To you Hashem is Amen. To you Hashem is the chesed. For you will pay a person according to his deeds. When you look at it from above, it seems not to be a little bit contradictory. If L'cha Hashem chesed, Ribono Shalom, you're doing chesed, you will pay a person according to his deed. That's not chesed. That's justice, but it's not chesed. Chesed is to give to somebody, not according to what he's doing, but above and beyond. So why is the pasuk says L'cha Hashem chesed? Ki ata tashleim keish k'maaseh. What is so the Rebbeinu explains as follows. And k'shachesed is okav etzlo yisbarach. When the chesed remains by HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it doesn't flow down. It's plugged up. Zeh b'chinas L'cha Hashem chesed. The chesed remains by you, Hashem. The chesed is not flowing. When reality is in such a level, and we will learn with Hashem later on, what is the thing that prevents the chesed from flowing? The Hashem chesed, when it's a state of, what the chesed is? The chesed is by Hashem. The Hashem chesed is by you. The chesed is being delayed by Hashem. And he doesn't bestow it upon us. Then the state of affairs is, for you shall pay a person according to his deeds. A person needs to do in order to unlock the chesed. According to the deeds and shtalas the person does, this is how HaKadosh Baruch Hu is paying. Because it is imperative to do. Why? Because the chesed is being delayed by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It doesn't bestow upon us. However, if HaKadosh Baruch Hu would bestow, the chesed Hashem would be bestowed upon us, we wouldn't have to do anything at all. And then it will be for you should pay a person like his deeds. What does it mean? That person kemaaseu. You should pay a person's deed. The kemaaseu is, so Rebbeinu says that kemaaseu is like his deeds. So the push-up shot means you will repay a person commensurately with his deeds. But also kemaaseu also means is as if he was doing. It says that the azayin is kain ki atata shalom kemaaseu ki ilu hu oisa. When the chedek is not stuck by Hashem and it's flowing down, you would give down every person the chesed as if that person would build all the factories and do whatever it is that as if you would do. Because when the shefa, when the bounty, goodness of Hashem is flowing down, there's no need to do. So the Maisa, we are we see here three levels of deed, of what kind of ishtadlus the person need to do for a parnasa. So the first principle that is important to note is that Rabbeinu says that itarusa deltata, and awakening from below, always have to be. Even in the future, when the ishtadlus will be done by others, and we will be the kohanim, nevertheless, ishtadlus still needs to be done. It's just we won't have to do it. That doesn't mean, but it means it still has to be done.
The subordination offering.
Yes. It's not Jebes Hamikdash. It'll be a day-to-day event. It's like where people were supporting people who are Hashem. They support them of their own because they realize, that there is yeah, that's right. It's an important thing. It's something that it's a schus for me to support somebody who serves the Kodesh Baruch Hu. And in other words, La'osid Lovo it's not only that the nations will do the melacha. It's not that we will be, as I said, the kings of the hill, and everybody has to scram around and do the work for us, and we're certainly twiddling our fingers, some kind of a Maharaja, I don't know, whatever it is, I don't know, some kind of caliph or whatever it is, some kind of a billionaire somewhere in India, I don't know. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about we will be busy with Avodas Hashem. It's not that we will impose the duty to do the melacha, to support us as if they were our slaves. That's not what will happen. What will happen was that they will realize on their own, that this is their tachlis. This is the thing that'll give a meaning to their lives. In fact, they will find it very disturbing not to do that we will have to, if we were to do, the status in Olam Hazeh and they will not do it, it will disturb them a great deal. You're taking away our reason for being. It will be deeply disturbing. I even saw a shita that says that one of the reasons for anti-Semitism is that we are not doing what we are supposed to be doing. And now, the Umas cannot put a word to it. They cannot put a name on it. They cannot put their finger on what disturbs them. But what disturbs them is that we are dealing with Olam Hazeh. What do you mean you're dealing with Olam Hazeh? That's not your work. This is our work. How can you take it from us? We are supposed to work so you can serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You're the conduit between him and us. But nevertheless, so the first level is that the reality is that the world has to continue and the Ishtadlus needs to be done and will always have to be done. I'm not talking about lost love of Olam and Neshamas, and the level where I don't even know, nobody knows what reality will be at that point. And so on one hand, you have the ideal that will happen in the world, in the future, the end of the days, whereas the Ishtadlus will be done by the nations, and Am Yisrael will be the Kohen Hashem, the priest of Hashem. On the other side of the ring, you have just, us doing Ishtadlus, doing Melacha, doing this, doing that, just like and what do we believe? We believe that Kodesh Baruch Hu is the one who's doing. Shem Yisborach Levadoi, Osa, Oisa, V'yasa, Kol HaMaisim. He's the one who does everything. He's the one that makes everything happen. He's the one that enables the Ishtadlus. And he will do, and everything will Everything will be the way it's supposed to. But we're working, and so you see that in this particular level, somebody was working harder, so seriously has more. Somebody who is more ferocious, more adamant, more pushy, more whatever. So suppose you say he has more. Somebody who is more, lax and less ambitious, whatever, so he has less. Gashmias. We're talking about Gashmias. He has less. The same is true in Ruchnis also. It's a principle that works. It's a principle that works both the Gashmias and the Ruchnis. Nevertheless, so we have on the other side, what do you call it? Normal world, as it were. Okay? You're from Jew, whatever it is. You go to work, you make ishtadlus, whatever it is, you earn your living, you make whatever it is. So you know that it's not you. You believe that it's not you, but nevertheless, how much do you believe that it's not you? Somewhat. Basically. Here we call it begadol. In principle, I believe that this is so. But nevertheless, I go on LinkedIn and I create an account and I do this and I do posts and this and that and what can I do? And I build a website and blah, blah, blah. No. Now, in between the regular, reality of doing, over the background of Emunah, the Kodesh Baruch Hu does everything. You have, the other side, you have, the no need to do it all. The Gentile, the Umas will do it. In between, there is the gray area in which the more Emunah you have, the less ishtadlus you have to do. And it's not something that you can fake. The more emunah you have, and as we will learn, this is all an offshoot of Yira, of how much Yiras Hashem a person has, how much an off Hashem, and we'll talk about it next week, why that's the thing that determines everything. But nevertheless, we're talking about a situation that has basic situation where you work, you do your ishtadlus, whatever it is, and you believe basically Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hu gives. The other situation is you don't have to do anything because the shofar comes down. And in between, there's a reality in which, you need to do something. But your belief is so strong that it's minimal. It's mamish minimal. They say that there's a Maaseh, Mishum the Baal Shem Tov, that once the Baal Shem Tov needed money, he needed a loan. So he went to somebody's house, and he knocked on the window, and he said, the Baal Shem Tov needs money. And he went back home. The person that lives in this house ran after him. Right after Baal Shem Tov, says, why did you wait? Why did you need? Why did you leave? Baal Shem Tov told him, that's all the ishtalas I needed to do. I just needed to knock on the window and say, Baal Shem Tov needs money. That's it. He didn't need, for the Baal Shem Tov to do more would be chisar emunah, would be a pgam, would be a blemish. So Baal Shem Tov knew his level. He's a Rebbe on practically all the olimus came out during his time. One of the important nakudas that need to be realized regarding this Indian has little to do with just the Indian of Parnasa. The amount of of worry that people have to worry about how much parnosa they do, and they give parnosa, they don't give parnosa, they handle things, they don't handle things, and they have problems in meeting the rent or buying food and this and that. There are different stages in a person's life, whereas the different needs and the different shefa that comes to a person's life. You can't take a person in his 30s or 40s and compare him to the kind of yeshiva das that a person is 50s, 60s, 70s, or 80s. Somebody in his 80s is usually is much more miyushav in this particular union. Doesn't have to do that much. He's not that much caught up in this world. Nevertheless, there's something else besides how much ishtadlus you can do, and that is, how do you view your life? You view your life. A person can take a look, and again, this is also many, many times, something which is, it's a flux during a person's lifetime. When a person is younger, he figures that he has that many more options. And he may be saying, why do I have to spend my life being unhappy and having to settle for a life of discomfort or pressure or discord or lack of forgiving from other people or my spouse or whatever it is, when I can, I don't know, maybe go to therapy, maybe divorce, maybe I don't know, whatever that may be, because the options are all open. So if the options are open, it means that I should use them. I shouldn't, take advantage of it. It means that my life is not what it's supposed to be. But one of the biggest yeshiva das that a person needs to have is a person needs to look at his life and assess what it is that he can and cannot do. And understand that whatever it is that I'm able to do in Avodas Hashem is wonderful. And whatever it is that I'm unable to do in Avodas Hashem, I wish it wasn't like this, but it's also okay. It's a good life. The Rebbe kept on saying is a very important, the Kodesh Rebbe says, is a bissel zeichet gut. A little is also good. It's not some kind of a consolation prize. It's not a silver medal. It's the gold medal. A bissel zeichet gut means to know, yes, your heart should be motivated to do the maximum in Avodas Hashem. But nevertheless, you should understand that dissatisfaction with what you're doing does not constitute Yiras Shamayim. Does not constitute Avodas Hashem. If you're putting yourself down, if you're breaking yourself down, that's not the kind of life I should have. That's not the kind of life I should have. I should have 5 rooms, 6 rooms, 7 rooms, whatever it is I need to have. Or, my wife should understand me and accept me the way I am. Very nice. Do you accept her the way she is? Well, or vice versa. It's good. It's good. The way she is good. The way I am is good. Yeshiva das, which is parallel, if you can see the parallel between this and the kind of ishtadlus you have to do for parnasa. Because it doesn't really matter if parnasa is money or parnasa is satisfaction. We're basically talking about the same thing. First of all, you have to understand that the more you look at your life with your Shema, the more you look at your life with the Muna, the less crazy you have to make yourself. The Rabbeinu says, the more Muna you have, the less Ishtadlus you have to do. He says, if you have little Muna, you have to do very, very hard work. If you have Muna, just every single thing a little thing that you do with a Muna is worth gazillion times more than little, just doing by rote or doing it, but even which is also great. Don't get me wrong. But the quotient of a Muna within the deed is the thing that determines the value. That's why when somebody has a great Emunah, does a small deed, this is a lot more than if he has a little Emunah and does a lot. Because with a little Emunah, you accomplish a lot. The same thing here is when a person has, as we'll learn, we'll have Yir Shemayim, he has a chesed. That kind of chesed we're talking about is not just parnasa. It's also happiness. It's also good life. It's also living between you and yourself, and you with your surroundings. It's okay. People think that Yir Shemayim means to think that Kodesh Baruch Hu's Chas v'Chalila is out there to get me. Kodesh Baruch Hu created me in order to go out and get me. What kind of an opinion, is that on Hashem Yisbarach Chas v'Chalila? The way I am is exactly the way it's supposed to be. When you take a look at the world, you take a look at what the standard is, you take a look at how most people are done. No. You don't even know what's going on by them. Well, let's say that you did. They're capable and that this and that and that and that tzaddikim v'Baruch Hashem alvai v'akol mikol bakol. I mean, I take a look at it and I feel like 10 cents. I feel like yay small. Okay, this is them and this is me. It's not to do with it. As long as I keep on doing what I can and wishing I could do more, and talking to Kodesh Baruch Hu, and asking Kodesh Baruch Hu to do more, and also go through times when I can't even ask Kodesh Baruch Hu to do more. Even to ask, I can't. Also good. And you have to be careful not to cheat yourself about this. Not to this, not to that. But the main thing that is Nagir, the Emunah, is the thing that is the motor behind everything. And as we will learn weiter, it's the Yira. Yir Shemayim, that's the thing that enables the Shefa to come down easily without impediments. That we will be able to be miyashev ourselves. First of all, to do our shtadlus with Emunah Shleima. And the thing is that I cannot be yoitze the shtadlus that I will need to do 10 years from now. Now, there was a person in his 30s cannot say, okay, I won't do shtadlus like he will need to do, when he'll be 60. Because you're in a different station in life. Every station in your life, is get to what it is that you need to do at that particular point in time. And it changes. But that's the name of the game. That's the Indian. The more Emunah you have, the more Yira you have, the more easier the Shefa comes. Either Parnasa, either Menuchas HaNefesh, either, harmony in a person's house. All these things are all Negeya of how much Emunah and how much Yishma a person has. So, Kodesh Baruch Hu will help us. At Hashem, this was all the tzaddikim, Sus Rabbeinu HaKodesh. there'll be a position with full shleima to all the people in Israel that need refuah, Frat, Esther Tamima, Bas Dina Edel, and all the people that we daven and learn for them. And Hashem, have a good Shabbos. And next week we'll delve more into what is the kli for the shefa and what's the thing that stands on the way. What's the two ends of the pole of what makes things happen and what prevents things from happening. Kol Tov, and Hashem, we'll talk next week.